Do you remember the old proverb, if at first you don't succeed, try again? Well, dirt tracker Scotty Parker does. In fact, he tried, and tried again a total of 19 times without success. On the 20th, well, here's another one. All good things come to those who wait. Defending Grand National Dirt Track champion Scott Parker waited, and waited, and waited some more for victory at the famed San Jose Mile. In 19 attempts, the Flint, Michigan native finished second 7 times, including an astounding 6 times in a row. The 20th try would prove to be the charm. At the start of the 34th running of the San Jose Mile, Parker, on the front row next to the wall, was sound asleep. As a result, the Harley champ was pushed to the outside in corner number 1 and all the way back to 10th in the field of 17. Out in front, it was Steve Moorhead with a host of racing greats in tow that included Chris Carr, Doug Chandler, and former national champions Steve Eklund and Jay Springsteen. It was, however, Parker's day, and the defending champ went to work. At the end of lap number 2, Chandler was the leader, followed by Chris Carr, and look who's in third, Scott Parker. Parker had it dialed and had no intention of coming up short on this, his 20th try. The field could only watch as Parker on the 4th lap took the lead and never looked back. The battle for the win, for all practical purposes, was over. The excitement, though, was not. During the next 21 miles of racing, the fight for the runner-up position raged in all 4 corners and down the straights. There were lead changes on every lap. At the end of 25 miles, Parker, with a 2-second advantage, took the checkered flag. Doug Chandler, aboard a Hank Scott-tuned Honda, held on for second, while Chris Carr took third.
Oh, it feels great after 7 seconds and finally pulling this thing off. It's a great victory to win the San Jose Mile. Woo!
Yeah! Before leaving the Santa Clara County Fairgrounds, we'd like to send a special message to a Motoworld viewer that won the San Jose Mile a record-setting 5 times. To Bubba Schobert from your racing buddies. Schobert is at home in Lubbock, Texas, recuperating from injuries sustained at the recent U.S. Road Race Grand Prix at Laguna Seca. Bubba, we know you're watching. Hurry back. We miss you. From San Jose, the Camel Pro Tour traveled east to the Illinois State Fairgrounds, home of the famed Springfield Mile. The trip was for naught. With practice and time trials complete, the skies opened up and the bottom fell out. The fastest motorcycle mile oval in the world was transformed into a course fit only for swamp buggies. The Springfield Mile has been rescheduled for July 16th.
Team Suzuki presents the Motoworld Suzuki Event Calendar. A look at some of the major events coming up in the world of motorcycles and ATVs.
World Championship Motocross comes to Northern California on June 18th. Round 7 of the 500cc series, the United States Grand Prix, will be held in Hollister, California, and is expected to draw the world's best riders. Come on out and cheer on the U.S. riders. Also on that weekend, the stars of the AMA Road Racing Series invade New England for the 66th Annual Loudon Classic. There will be 2 full days of racing on June 17th and 18th. American road racing stars competing on the World Championship circuit will do battle in Assen, Holland on June 24th. Round 9, the Dutch TT, is expected to attract nearly 200,000 spectators.
Still to come on Motoworld, a behind-the-scenes look at the Motorcycle Mechanics Institute. A medical miracle, or just another day at the drag strip. We'll have the extraordinary story of drag racer Vince Testa. And coming up next, veteran racer Jim Filice talks about the trials and tribulations of trying to secure a World Championship Grand Prix ride. Keep it tuned to TNN. Welcome back. It's time to turn our attention to road racing and update some international race results. In World Championship Superbike news, Californian Fred Merkel leads the point standings in that series with 2 rounds in the books. The reigning world champ swept both legs of the latest race in Hungary. Flying Fred and his Honda will be the pre-race favorites when the World Superbike Series makes its only U.S. appearance in June in Brainerd, Minnesota. Meanwhile, in World Championship Grand Prix action, tragedy struck the 250cc ranks at the recent German Grand Prix. Venezuelan Ivan Palasese was killed during the crash-marred 250 race staged on the Hockenheim circuit near Frankfurt. Spaniard Cito Pons eventually won the tragic event. Looking at the German Grand Prix 500cc results, it was another victory for U.S. Grand Prix winner Wayne Rainey. Reigning world champ Eddie Lawson finished in 2nd place, with Australian newcomer Michael Doohan earning the final rostrum position. As we near the halfway point in the season, the standings reflect a Rainey versus Lawson battle for the title. The former Superbike teammates are steadily pulling away from the rest of the championship hopefuls with consistent high finishes. A contemporary of Rainey and Lawson, fellow Californian Jim Filice, would like nothing better than to be battling with his buddies in the Grand Prix wars. But as Dennis Torres reports, Filice has become the forgotten rider, at least in the eyes of Grand Prix team managers.
For fans who have attended Grand Prix weekend at Laguna Seca the past 2 years, the name Jim Filice is a household name. After all, with a win in '88 and a runner-up finish this year, the Modesto, California native upheld U.S. honors on our home turf. For most of Filice's 17-year racing career, the World Road Racing Championship has been his goal. However, critics will point to the fact that he hasn't won a national championship, and that could be the reason he hasn't been recruited for international competition. Another theory as to why Filice is not racing in Europe is international racing politics.
I don't know if it's the Europeans or just the politics of Grand Prix racing, but it's very, very difficult for an American to go to Europe and be competitive in a 250 class like they are in the 500 class. And the exact reason, I don't know. But I believe that Honda and Edwin, with their backing, and if they really want me to go, that they'll bring me there and it'll all work out.
Despite an optimistic attitude towards the future, the 26-year-old Honda rider feels he has been labeled unfairly with a mistaken racing identity.
Well, there's one thing that a lot of people think I'm really easygoing and not aggressive enough. My personality is that way. I'm a pretty easygoing person off the racetrack and a fairly nice person around. But when I put my helmet on and get serious and I conduct business.
With corporate associates like Japan's largest jeans manufacturer, Edwin Jeans, and USA Honda, Filice is conducting business with some powerful allies. Filice has taken a long, winding route to the World Championship scene, but make no mistake about it. Next stop, Europe, ETA 1990. Reporting for Motoworld, this is Dennis Torres.
Coming back after a serious injury is not so unusual in the world of motorcycle racing. There are many stories about bike racers coming back from adversity. At the recent Drag Bike USA Desert Nationals, though, there was a variation on that comeback theme. On this occasion, the injury, hospitalization, and comeback all occurred on the same day. Mark McKay has the story.
Drag Bike USA's fastest class is Top Fuel Eliminator. At the recent Mr. Speed Desert Nationals, the final in this class provided fans with a classic confrontation. This is Arizona's Mike Malone aboard his supercharged 1325cc Kawasaki. His opponent in the far lane would be Mr. Speed himself, Tommy Bolton out of Los Angeles, California. He was aboard the Mr. Speed-sponsored Turbo Suzuki. Despite the high altitude, Bolton was fast qualifier at just under 180 miles per hour on the 1,320-foot strip. At the green, Bolton in the far lane got the jump on Malone by 32/100ths of a second. That advantage shrunk to 13/100ths of a second by the time the two hit the speed traps.
Even the odds was against us, you know. The conditions of the track, no traction, my tire was going bad, and the wind blowing with 10-mile-an-hour crosswind. You know, it's just lucky, you know, pulled it on out.
This massive machine, with the equally massive rider, is Desert Nationals Superfuel Pushrod champion Marion Owens in his dual-engine Harley-Davidson. By taking Superfuel honors, Owens qualified to run in the all-important Super Final, which pits the top Harley-powered bike against the top Japanese machine. Unfortunately, when it came down to the big showdown, Owens' opponent, funny bike champ Vince Testa, was being taken away to the hospital with a severely pinched nerve which paralyzed his neck, shoulders, and arms. Owens put his Harley back on the trailer only to bring it out later after Testa made a miraculous recovery with the aid of oxygen treatment. Testa in the far lane had just enough time to don his leathers, fire up his bike, and get an okay from the doctor on hand. When the Christmas tree said go, both men started even, but as they approached the speed traps, Testa and his Kawasaki Turbo pulled out just enough to nip Owens and his Harley from the hospital bed to the winner's circle in only a matter of minutes. For his amazing Super Final win at the Desert Nationals, Italian-born Vince Testa is our Castro Rider of the Week. The speed merchant from Arizona will receive a custom jacket and plaque for being named Castro Rider of the Week. Reporting for Motoworld, this is Mark McKay.
Now that's a great story. If those paramedics in Phoenix have any more of that oxygen they gave Vince Testa, give me a call. I'd like to order a couple of canisters. When we return, it'll be time to check in on the outdoor motocross scene. Keep it tuned to the Nashville Network. 250 class sang another verse of the same old song as Team Honda's Jeff Stanton continued his domination. The 125 class, though, produced its 4th winner in as many starts. To say the least, action in the 125 class was up and down. Rider number 1, Team Honda's defending champion George Holland, went down on the opening lap of moto number 1. The best he could do in that moto was 10th. Holland was up, though, for the second go-round and took the win. His 10th and first-place finishes were good enough for 3rd overall. Donnie Schmidt, rider number 9, was up in the first moto as he took the whole shot. Schmidt, aboard a Pro Circuit Honda, eventually finished 2nd, but went down to 6th in moto number 2 to finish 2nd overall. And how about number 45, Damon Bradshaw? The 16-year-old Yamaha rider was up and at one time or another led both motos. Injuries suffered in a previous race, though, forced Bradshaw down to eventual 6th and 15th places. One rider, however, was up the entire day. Number 971, Larry Ward from Snohomish, Washington. Ward captured the win in moto number 1 and finished 3rd in moto number 2. It was the first national win of Ward's career. Look for more in the future. In the 250 class, the future is now, and it belongs to rider number 7, Jeff Stanton. At the start of the season, the Honda rider, shown here chasing defending 250 champ Jeff Ward, had never won a national. Stanton eventually passed Ward and went on to win both motos, collecting his 3rd national win in a row. En route to his lofty position atop the 250 championship point standings, in the 8 motos run, Stanton has won 5 of them and finished 2nd 3 times. Stanton's numbers are impressive, but consider those of rider number 64. 64 national wins, resulting in 6 national titles. They, of course, belong to Bob Hurricane Hanna. Hanna came from out of the pack to finish 3rd in the first moto. His efforts, though, were in vain as the Suzuki star crashed hard in moto number 2. To the relief of everyone, Hanna sustained no serious injuries. He was, however, too sore to continue. Despite being the oldest motocross rider on the circuit, Bob Hanna continues to be one of the strongest. The word is, though, that Bob Hanna will call it quits after the Unadilla Grand Prix. We'll keep you posted. Now let's get back to more championship AMA motocross. A capacity crowd on hand for round 5 more than got their money's worth. Let's start with the opening lap of the 250 class. Ron Lechine is the leader, followed by Jeff Ward. Watch the upcoming Ward miscue. None of the riders were seriously injured, and Ward, in fact, went on to finish 12th. Meanwhile, Lechine number 4 was being hounded by Jeff Stanton. Lechine tried as hard as he could to hold Stanton in check, but no dice. On the backside of the track, Stanton made the pass and held on for the win. In the second go-round, Ward was in a similar situation. Ward, though, didn't crack. The defending champ turned in a strong ride to take the moto win. The overall win, though, went to Stanton, his 4th in a row. Now let's check the 125 class. The first moto turned into a 3-way dogfight led by number 9, Donnie Schmidt, followed by George Holland, and in 3rd, Damon Bradshaw. Keep your eye on the corner. If you're Holland, you had to wonder, where did he come from? Coming up, the answer to that question. This time the victim is race leader Donnie Schmidt. Now that was about as slick a motocross move as you're going to find. Bradshaw won the moto, trailed by Donnie Schmidt with Holland 3rd. Second moto, and meet Marcia Bradshaw, Damon's mother. Why the concerned look? Because Damon is not out in front. He's in 2nd, chasing George Holland. Now Mother is happy. Could it be? Yes, Damon has moved into the lead. That would make any mother smile. Uh-oh, Mother looks worried, and here's why. George Holland has reclaimed the number 1 spot, and this time he held it to take the moto and overall win for the day. Next on the schedule is the Supercross Series finale in the Los Angeles Coliseum the 2nd weekend in June. The outdoor championship season will resume in July. When Motoworld continues, we'll go behind the scenes of the Motorcycle Mechanics Institute and go touring in Kentucky. We'll be right back. This week's Coors Behind the Scenes segment profiles one of the most respected motorcycle schools for mechanics in America. Here's Chris Larson with a look at the Motorcycle Mechanics Institute, headquartered in Phoenix, Arizona.
Ever wonder where many professional racing mechanics get their training? The answer to that question is as easy as 3 words. Motorcycle Mechanics Institute.
It's kind of like going to college. You get to learn all the problems from other people, your instructors, and they have all different models to learn what's going on. You get the basics of electrics and machining and many, many things that's difficult to learn while you're out in the field, wherever your environment might be, you might not have that equipment to work with.
Much of the equipment Lunis talks about is donated to MMI by manufacturers. According to the Institute's fact sheet, MMI is the only training institute which is endorsed by motorcycle manufacturers. MMI, though, is not solely a racing mechanics school. The motorcycle industry has donated close to $3 million worth of cycles, scooters, and power equipment because they know they are investing in the education of potential employees.
We have campuses both in Phoenix, Arizona and Orlando, Florida. We have about 750 students between those two campuses, and we anticipate that to go up. We're on the pace to enroll about 1,600 students this year. And because of that, we have some plans for expansion. We're currently involved in building a 45,000 square foot building in Phoenix, Arizona that we anticipate being done by November. And as soon as that project is complete, we'll be building a 45,000 square foot building in Orlando, scheduled to be done a year from that.
Two of the more popular curriculums for incoming students are Hontech and the Harley-Davidson School. Hontech is a 12-week course that is endorsed and equipped by American Honda. In addition, all Hontech instructors are American Honda trained. Want to work on those big V twin engines from Milwaukee? The Harley-Davidson training program, like the Honda program, is endorsed and sponsored by the program's namesake. Harley fanatic? Motocross enthusiast? Want to go racing? Whatever your desire, the Motorcycle Mechanics Institute has a program for you. Oh, and by the way, recess at the Phoenix campus is the icing on the cake. Reporting for Motoworld, this is Chris Larson.
The Motorcycle Mechanics Institute is offering a free complimentary tuition to a lucky Motoworld viewer. For more information on this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, call 1-800-225-1234. That's 1-800-225-1234. With summer upon us, most of the country is gearing up for the long-range touring season. With that in mind, motorcycle manufacturers, event promoters, and enthusiast magazines combine forces to put on rallies with a touring rider in mind. We dropped in on one of these rallies, this one in the heart of Kentucky.
Here at the Rider Rally East, we have activities for field events, bike judging. We have 5 mini tours going through the countryside. We have one of the largest trade fairs, I think, in motorcycling, so that people can pick out their products they like. We have demo rides from the 6 major manufacturers, and we have a full list of seminars for people to learn about their hobby from the experts in the business.
With such a captive audience, aftermarket suppliers were in attendance in a big way. The kids, though, were left outside till the shopping spree was over. Inside, you could buy just about anything. How about this leather dress? Don't forget that official event T-shirt. And you've got to have a comfortable seat for those long hauls. Rider Magazine put on this rally, and who better to cater to touring enthusiasts? Rallies are a great way to check out the latest accessories, your fellow riders, as well as a great way to sample the latest touring machines. With that, we're just about out of time, but we would like to leave you with these riding tips for the summer riding season. Watch out for the other guy. Don't forget to ride carefully. Wear the prescribed protective gear sold at your local dealer. And the #1 riding tip, keep your wheels on the ground and your feet on the pegs. For all of us here at Motoworld, I'm Larry Myers, and we'll